fundamentally rooted in our own industry. It's not because of the simple adoption of blockchain we can solve all the problems. Likewise, firstly, when it comes to the Scoop, all right, we don't have a very good asset, all right. We need a first-class asset to be introduced as an underlying asset for blockchain, but we have problems to solve very first-class asset, right? Secondly, it's about secondary market liquidity, all right. So how do we make sure there's a trading volume? There's a trading volume and very deep. There's depth in liquidity in terms of our secondary market, in terms of cross-border, like let me say, international Islamic capital market. All of these things are, let me say, are not in place. And so some of the challenges and shortcomings are deeply rooted in our own ecosystem of Islamic finance. It's not only because of the simple fintech adoption will solve all the problems. So we have to manage our expectation about blockchain adoption in this regard. All right. So apart from that, that is why do we choose Qitmeer and what is our own advantages? All right. So in terms of smart contract, the best project is Ethereum. So smart contract actually is not our priority. All right. In terms of smart contract, we can utilize a bridge or a cross-chain protocol to interact between our own system and Ethereum. All right. So for Qitmeer project, I would like to explain from three perspectives. Firstly, why Qitmeer? What is the meaning of Qitmeer? All right. Qitmeer actually is very relevant to the Surah Kahf from Al-Quran al-Karim. All right. 7 people and 1 dog. Because of their submission and to the God, they have been, let me say, oppressed by the regime, by the authority. So they are running in a cave. All right. The span of 309 years. All right. So the name, the dog's name is Qitmeer. All right. So in 309 years time, the dog was safeguarding the 7 people's lives. Right. So our fundamental values is very in compliance with Islamic values. That is, Qitmeer should be the foundation and a cornerstone infrastructure to safeguard the fairness and the justice of financial system. All right, especially to prevent any injustice, is to prevent harmful industry adoption in blockchain space. That is against Sharia-based values. All right, so that is, I mean, there's a very deeply rooted culture, cultural considerations of this project, and there's we want to create, like, let me say, a market awareness and a sense of belonging against the Muslim consumers. And the project is being developed into different stages: the Umayyad network, the Abbas network. So it's very relevant to the Islamic history, and if we have a background about that, it's very interesting. So this is my first point. Second point is that how do I why we choose consensus that is based on proof of work. All right, because proof of work that it has a less argument in terms of Sharia compliance, and also it does not involve let me say, raise money from public. The project is open source. Any miners from any world, any part of the world can mine the cryptocurrency, can do their contributions to the network through the contribution of their hash power. So it is a fair participation, and it is inclusive in participation for everyone. So that is why we choose proof of work. But the problems of Bitcoin and Ethereum, as just mentioned by Dr. Taha, that is, when it comes to the mainstream adoption, they cannot take it. Right, because Bitcoin's performance is 7 times per second. All right, it costs almost $50 per transaction, and for Ethereum, it's the same. It's like let me say, it's around like 70 times, between 50 to 70. And right now, you know that Ethereum is very expensive when it comes to the applications. All right, when we want to transfer some money, and it's very expensive. Especially comes to the micropayment. All right. Because sometimes one transaction will cost me $50. But what if I want to only transfer $100 or $200? So which means like Bitcoin and Ethereum, both of them are very far away from our day-to-day transactions when it comes to the adoptions. All right, there's no possible to introduce them for the real adoptions in the real economic lives. Bitcoin can only afford 20,000 people for daily transactions. All right, but we have billions of people, and that is unbankable. So how do we? So the underlying technical challenges is a big privation for blockchain to be utilized, to be adopted in a broader space. All right. So we decided to choose proof of work, which means like it gives us security. All right. And it goes to avoid the double spending problem, because it takes money to attack this network. All right. So, and at the same time, we studied how to improve the scalability, all right, to improve the transaction cost, improve the transaction rate, and bring down transaction cost. So through the adoption of block DAG, we improve the transaction cost at the underlying base one layer, all right, and base one layer we improve to 3,000 times, all right. So it is very similar to Visa, which means we can utilize it for blockchain real use cases, all right. So the performance of Qitmeer blockchain is 500 times to Bitcoin and 75 times to Ethereum. So to the layer one, all right. Because when it comes to the layer two, that is another thing. Because there's a sharding, there is a Lightning network. There are many options, all right, to introduce to bring the scalability at the second layer. But I'm talking about the base layer. The layer one scalability through the block DAG is a big innovation, all right. So we use proof of work and also like block DAG to bring the security and scalability. So which means like we need to keep a balance, all right, between decentralization, scalability, and the security. Because if sometimes you choose security and you have to lose scalability. When you choose scalability, you have to lose decentralization.
So balance, right?
Yeah, it's a trilemma. So how to keep it, right? Because like IDPay is very fast, but it's centralized, all right? And some blockchain, and they have very high scalability, but they're not as secure as Bitcoin, all right? Because Bitcoin takes like billions of dollars to attack the network, and without any economic benefit. So that is why, like I think the biggest innovation of Qitmeer Network is that is a high performance blockchain. It combines proof of work, which delivers security, and they choose like the block DAG structure to bring the scalability. All right. So in terms of use cases, right? So we need to consider
use cases like stablecoin, how you can cater the smart sukuk solution.
Yeah. I think in terms of use cases, we need to focus on like two areas. One is capital market, another one is payment. All right. So capital market is about asset tokenization. All right. We tokenize like sustainable infrastructure. We tokenize very clean asset from the Muslim economies and bring the liquidity from the developed economies to support the Muslim economies, right? So it's about the asset tokenization, collecting, let me say, hard asset tokens, all right? Tokenize the real economic world asset and to tokenize through blockchain and make it transparent and efficient for everyone to participate, make it very inclusive. So that is one regard of financial inclusion, all right? Likewise, right now, what about we tokenize asset from Malaysia, but why we bring the investors from China to participate? Because in traditional legal system, it's very hard to make this happen because of the different jurisdictions. It's very hard to engage both different elements together, all right? But in blockchain, it's because it is fully decentralized, it's very possible for us to combine, converge, and engage different production force from different economies together in a very innovative way. So this is one regard. Another regard is about payment. So I think that we need to consider especially for Muslim economies, we need to consider to issue a stable coin or CBDC. Because likewise, right, you see, America, US dollar has already extended and expand its influence and dominance through blockchain. You understand what I'm saying? So from one way, and blockchain is disruptive to the traditional legal system, and from another way, that is the US dollar system is utilizing blockchain to reinforce its dominance and expansion and the penetration power to the developing economies, to the developing economy, right? At the same time, China's government is introducing a CBDC, central bank digital currency, and as a payment infrastructure domestically. And maybe in the future, under the Belt and Road initiatives, Chinese government might push CBDC to be adopted outside of China. So you will see that there's a very strong expansion from US dollar and another expansion from Chinese economy. Because both of them are the first and the largest and the second largest economy around the world. So all the countries in between, their financial system and their monetary policy will be influenced. Their financial stability will be squeezed, all right, by these two strongest economies in the world. So we need to consider to find a way to help the central banks of the Muslim economies to understand how important it is. We need to establish, we need to tokenize ringgit, all right, to push ringgit outside of Malaysia. So make it to be very defensive in front of the expansion from the other hard currencies, you know. So
actually, Mr. Abdullah, our Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir, mentioned something about how cryptocurrencies can be a medium of exchange between communities, between Islamic countries, right? By that, can be alternative for USD. Because USD don't have, it's not backed anymore by gold, right? So something that is an alternative. What is on this? First, in terms of the government perspective, by having cryptocurrencies, especially that, like what Qitmeer offer, something on the Islamic bond, sukuk can help governments, between government G2G, right? It's very clear on that matter as well. Maybe you can touch a little bit on that. And also how people, I mean, we can say that poor people or people lost jobs because of the pandemic, people lost job, lost business, how actually they can get, I don't say that fast money, but actually it's alternative, because they have no jobs now. Straightforwardly, what they can do now to gain profit from Qitmeer or from cryptocurrencies. First, G2G. Second, profit on the maybe short-term profit, maybe trading. Maybe you can tell more on that matter, because now people lost job. People talk about money, don't have enough money, saving lesser, because of don't have salary anymore. Maybe you can because Malaysia still in the worst scenario now in terms of the pandemic, right? Still high in terms of daily cases.
Firstly, we can consider two layers. All right, the first layer, tokenize the fiat money of Muslim economies on blockchain. All right, so it can be introduced as a domestic payment tool, right? And also to support unbankable people. All right, and another way, we can put another layer, that is create let me say a similar structure to the Libra. All right, there has been Libra. All right, the Libra has been comprised of different hard currencies, and then they introduce to the different payment infrastructures. So Muslim economies can also consider to come up with let me say a basket of hard currencies of Muslim economy as cross-border payment tools. All right, but when it comes to the domestic, we utilize its own fiat money related to stable coin. But when it comes to the cross-border infrastructure and settlement and payment, we utilize let me say a cross-border stable coin that is backed by the fiat money from different Muslim economies. So that is from government G2G level. Let me say that if we utilize a fully decentralized network, and by the government of Muslim economies. So we have very high possibilities to, let me say, to combine and consolidate all the resources together to bring the liquidity, cross-border liquidity, and bring down the remittance cost and enhance financial inclusion and everything. And the second, just for your mention, that is actually, Muslim has its economy has its own instruments in terms of charity, in terms of the cards, in terms of the waqf, all right? So, and actually, we need to utilize blockchain, introduce like some tokens to support, all right, to support this kind of cross-border, let me say, value transfer. Like say, let me say, in the few months ago, all right, we launched a campaign, all right, from Qitmeer ecosystem. So we want to support like some crisis in Nigeria, all right. So we raise money from Chinese community and to support the let me say the needies in Africa. But when the whole process is very smooth, we utilize blockchain. When we raise money, we raise 3 cryptocurrencies. We raise Bitcoin, we raise Ethereum, we raise Qitmeer, and a basket of different cryptocurrencies. And then we send this cryptocurrency to the Nigeria receivers. They automatically convert money into the local currency and buy the rice, buy the mask and everything. But in this scenario, if we utilize, let me say, banking system is very costly, and they will refuse to do so. All right, because yeah, they will refuse to do so. So that is why I think that we need to for the most we have a very strong participation from the world for this project, right? We have 10,000 miners from China, from US to participate in this network. Because when it comes to the blockchain ecosystem, we need to combine different strengths from different economy. China's strength in blockchain is about manufacturing. All right, there's no economy can compete China in terms of manufacturing, in terms of supply chain. So China will be utilized as our fundamental like base to produce, manufacture high performance like rigs, mining rigs for the ASIC for the chips, right? For the chips, all right. And then, but US, let me say, is very regulation friendly. So we might consider to list one of the mining company in the United States to have the liquidity for
Mr. Abdullah, maybe because I think mining activities, mining farm, mining crypto now is illegal. Maybe you can consider Malaysia, right? It's another place to bring the mining farm to Malaysia.
China bans crypto, all right.
Yep.
So China bans crypto mining, all right, because for the regulation concerns, all right. But right now we consider to shift the mining rigs of cryptocurrency from China to different part of the world, all right, especially for Qitmeer, all right. But for Qitmeer, because we consider you cannot. We're trying to avoid concentration of mining from only one particular farm, because it's not safety for the team, it's not safety for the ecosystem, it's not safety for the miners and for the developers. So we consider like Malaysia to be set up our first priority is that is to consider to utilize the hash power from Muslim economies, because it will give an inclusive participation from Muslim economy, and also that so we will find out that if people participate in mining, the use case and the mining will be from one jurisdiction. Otherwise, we'll find out that the hash power is from China, but the use case is from Malaysia, Nigeria, Indonesia, which means like there's no inclusive underlying foundational participation of the miners from Muslim developers. So that actually we are considering to set up a small mining center in Malaysia, so we can be able to have the on board the different stakeholders from our ecosystem. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you. It's very nice. It's very nice. It's very detailed, very complete. I can see now the eyes of hope from Dr. Taha. He's a core trader. He's a believer, preacher of the cryptocurrencies in Malaysia, and I think yes, we can do something, right, Dr.